What's up, people? Welcome back to Cricfootz. Today, I have a very special guest who was one of the first guests to join me in the live session when we started this page. Harsh, how are you doing?
All good, man. All good. How's everything?
All good, all good. So, for all the new viewers out there, Harsh is a huge Liverpool fan for almost 15 years, and I, as the jacket says, I'm a United fan from almost 13 years now, and we had unorthodox match yesterday, more or less.
Very cagey. Very cagey match.
Yes. Yes, Harsh.
Yeah. So, initial thoughts of the game were both teams didn't really, attack that well. I think
Yes.
United came with a game plan, and
Yes.
I think they were able to successfully do that.
Mhm.
Liverpool had possession, but they didn't make it count, which led to a very cagey game in that sense. Though I must say that in terms of the quality of chances, United had the better quality of chances,
Yes.
and I think draw was a fair result in that sense. Both teams didn't show that much of uh,
Intent.
adventurous nature in terms of attack. So probably draw was a fair result, uh, but it was hurting Liverpool's chances more than United's. Getting an away draw at Anfield, which means that you're still at the top of the table. I think United will be more happier coming out of that game. What did you feel?
Yes, I think the game plan was more or less set. You see, Liverpool were having more possession, which United were okay with, and I
Mm-hmm.
also think United's game plan was to catch you guys in the counter attack,
Right,
which was unsuccessful because of the high line you guys were playing.
right,
Marcus Rashford getting into the offside trap every time the long ball was
right,
being played. So more or
right,
less, it was both the tactics spot on, and both of them were getting nullified more or less.
right. I remember Allison making a couple of crucial saves, though nothing
Yes,
outstanding, but he was at the right
yes,
place at the right time. And those two could have easily gone in on another day. Think that fell to Pogba and
absolutely
Bruno.
yes,
So I
yes.
think playing the high line was a bit risky because we've played that high line for a long time, but with Van Dijk and Gomez, and
Mm-hmm.
playing it with Fabinho and Henderson was slightly risky, and probably that was something that United could have exploited better. But I don't think they'll complain
Yes.
too much. It would be probably Liverpool and their manager and their coaching staff, which would be a bit more disappointed about not
Mm-hmm.
having won this game than United's team and coaching staff. So, but there are worrying signs in that sense for the Liverpool team and the setup. Uh, I think the team is kind of showing signs of how a team has cycles, and probably Sir Alex was the master of evolving a team for every cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this team is coming slightly to the end of its cycle. It's unfortunate that when Thiago came in, he got injured. Van Dijk's out for
Mm-hmm.
the season. Gomez is out for the season. But this
Yes.
team is definitely showing signs that it's at the end of the cycle, and it needs a bit of refresh. Diogo Jota did offer that refresh, but even he's unfortunately injured. And at least for the last 5 games in which Liverpool has not won in the league in the since Christmas, for that matter,
Mm-hmm.
Salah, Mane, and Firmino have not really clicked, and so there is some kind of staleness in the team, which needs to be worked forward if Liverpool's in any chance to challenge for the title again. But it's a crazy season, and anything can
Yes.
happen. And what's it from the United's perspective? How do you see it?
I think we've been doing pretty well when it comes to our away form right now. I think
Mm-hmm.
we are unbeaten for the last 15 away games in the Premier League,
Right.
and I think that's a good sign. But I think home form needs to be
Mm-hmm.
improved, and winning at Old Trafford was an easy affair for us back. when Sir
Right.
Alex was there, but now it's getting a bit trickier.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think now the squad depth also comes into play, considering the number
Mm-hmm.
of games coming up.
Mm.
I think now it's the time for Donny Van de Beek to show his class, because I'm sure he's going to get a lot of games
Uh-huh.
right now.
Right.
And you can clearly see that in the game of Bruno also, that he's tired. He needs some rest.
Right. Right. Right.
And
So, which is
Liverpool were
very
fantastic yesterday in nullifying his threat. Thiago was all behind him.
yeah.
Every move of Bruno, Thiago was there with him. So yes,
Right.
it was more or less a man-to-man marking game. But yes, I think Bruno needs to sit for some games. He cannot do it all alone, and that's
Correct.
how things are going for us right now. And it's again a tricky affair on Sunday, that we are meeting again in the FA Cup
Right.
at Old Trafford, and I hope both the teams play their B team. I'm hoping to see some new faces in the team. I don't want to see the same players playing again, because
Right.
the tactics will be same again. So hoping for a good game and United win.
Uh, uh, I hope this time Liverpool takes the FA Cup a bit more seriously, because the chance to win a title may not be as sure shot as some of the other couple of seasons previously. So to get
Yeah.
some silverware at the end of the season would be great, because frankly, for the last 3-4 seasons, we've seen the title winners having 90 points, 100 points, which I'm sure is not going to happen in this case. We're probably going to
Yes.
have a winner somewhere around 80 to 85 points at the maximum. So it's going to
Yes.
be very,
Absolutely.
very, very, very tricky. So I think winning some kind of silverware, whether it is the Champions League or the FA Cup, should definitely
Hmm.
be targeted. So
Yes.
I think in that sense, I don't think there will be too many fresh faces from the Liverpool side, because anyways there are many injuries. Naby Keita is out,
Mhm.
Matip is almost out, Gomez is out, Van Dijk is out, Jota is out. So uh, what happens is that there's very little room to play. Like Klopp
Absolutely.
doesn't
Yes.
even trust the youngsters like Reece Williams and
Hmm.
Nathaniel Phillips in central defense is having to play Henderson, which is having a toll in the midfield creativity as well. So
Yes.
that's how I see the game. I think we'll play a stronger team. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes. You're audible. But I think yesterday Shakiri made a good game. He was back after more than a year. He was starting
Right.
for Liverpool after more than a year, and I think he had a decent game, especially in the first half. He was
Right.
having a lot of ball, creating chances. But then, yes, there's of course some rustiness in him. But I think Shakiri overall had a good game. But
Yes.
again, as you said, your front three lacked composure, lacked creativity yesterday. Mane was looking here and there, but Salah absolutely in Shaw's pocket.
So I mean, that's true. And what has happened is that because there's no Van Dijk and Gomez, and there's not that stability behind, the Mane and Salah are having to stay wide, because the fullbacks are not progressing as much.
Hmm.
If you look at the relative positions
Correct.
of Robertson and Trent, they're having to double down on defending, because central defense is an issue, which makes Salah and
Absolutely.
Mane go back to the wings. When
Hmm.
Van Dijk and Gomez played, Trent and Robertson used to be right up the pitch, which made Salah and
Yes.
Mane cut inside. So clearly that is not happening, and clearly that is affecting, and which is probably going to continue in the season, because both those players like Van Dijk and Gomez are not going to be there. So
Hmm.
that is something Jurgen Klopp might need to solve. Uh, yeah, but actually, United's formation we should have exploited. They were playing a diamond, and
Hmm.
the fullback should have exploited that. But because Liverpool team's own deficiencies, they could not exploit that. And as
Hmm.
Sir Alex once famously said, that diamonds aren't forever. So probably
Hmm.
your formation also will need to be tweaked, especially with if you're going to play Donny. Uh,
Hmm.
you'll have to look at getting maybe playing Bruno as the second striker, and having Donny behind him, and trying to accommodate Pogba, because uh, I think Cavani also should now is banging on the door to start, and
Hmm.
maybe he can rotate now with Rashford and Martial. So there are options for United also going forward.
Yes.
It's just getting the best out of Cavani and Donny, And even Bai, for that matter, who's played,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him play really good in the last 2-3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Maguire's being playing recently well. Van Bissaka is a very good defender,
Yes.
whatever people might say. So there is the looks of a stable team. It's just that sprinkling of quality, with the best to be getting from an attacking viewpoint. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably what United will be looking at in the upcoming 6 months.
Absolutely, yes. I don't think United are doing any business in this window. Does it
Mm-hmm.
surprise you, Liverpool not cashing in for any player, looking at the problems you have right now?
It does actually, once three defenders got injured, and those were the only three central defenders. Fabinho is still a makeshift defender. It is surprising that a new central defender may not be bought. So that is surprising, but from the manager's press conferences, he said that, hey, if they had the money, they would have bought. So I can understand if it's a financial issue, but I don't see any from a footballing standpoint. We do need a very good central defender, because you never know how Van Dijk and Gomez are going to come back from these injuries fit again.
Absolutely, yes.
So that is critical going forward, and I think that's a chance the club should take in getting a really good central defender. What are
I think you
United's
guys were
thoughts?
linked. I think Liverpool were linked with Connor Cody, your ex-man as well.
Right.
Yes, I think he's been the captain for Wolves right now with a lot of experience. I
Right.
don't see him coming to Liverpool. Louis Dunk as well was linked to Liverpool. Again, Brighton captain. I don't see him coming so easily as well. So yes, there are these issues. United,
Right.
I don't think we need any player. I think firstly we need to sell some deadwoods. I think Romero is leaving. Uh,
Right.
Marcus Rojo is leaving.
Rojo is leaving. Yes.
Yes, I think we need to sell a lot of players before we buy some because I think we have got some good players. I think
Right.
Matic is playing his last season. Pogba most likely is playing his last season for United, last 6 months
Okay.
maybe, and then he'll leave. So yes, a big revamp coming in the summer for us.
Right. It kind of also looks like most of the clubs in the Premier League are just hedging their bets in this season because it is such
Hmm.
an impacted season. I think clubs are just aiming to get top four, and probably winning the
Yes,
title is a bonus. I think
absolutely.
that's how clubs are looking at it in that point of view, which is why you don't see any team, saying that, oh, we are title challengers. Oh, no one's coming out
Hmm.
so confidently. Even Man City, for that matter, which has slowly crept up on the table, they are going about their work quite because I think even they know that this is a very tricky season. So I think just
Yes,
being in those top four spots by the end of the season is what every club is, aiming to be.
I think teams this season have been more or less inconsistent with their games. For the likes of Liverpool, who were terrific the last season, were almost unbeatable, unplayable, are having a rough phase.
Right.
I think in the last 4 or 5 games, 3 draws and a defeat to
Right.
Southampton. So yes, I think all the
Right.
teams, for that matter of fact, have been inconsistent so far, and it looks like a season where the lesser inconsistent team is going to win the season right now.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, and that's how it is across all the leagues. If you look at the Bundesliga, if you look at
Hmm.
La Liga, even if you look at the French league, it's the least consistent team who is going to win.
Yes.
There's not going to be any shade of right here this time. So probably interesting
Absolutely.
how seriously teams take the Champions League this time, because I think that
Hmm.
will be something that many teams will be gunning for, which is why we may just see stronger teams in the Champions League in the knockout.
Yes. So let's quickly have a review on the games which has just happened by in the midweek, starting with United
Right.
against Burnley. I think it was
Burnley.
a decent victory, a good goal,
Right.
a good volley by Paul Pogba, a good build up
Right.
for the goal, and more or less
Right.
we deserved that victory. It was a simple game where we all know Burnley plays a park the bus kind of football. They'll defend deep, they'll hunt you in the counters, but then yes, United looked more or less in control to throughout the game and a deserving win to go into the top of the table.
Right. Burnley is not a easy place to go and get a result, irrespective
Absolutely.
of without crowds or with crowds.
Hmm.
So I think a 1-0 victory also in the context of the season, that was a huge win for United because that gave them the chance to go to the top of the table.
Yes.
That's a great win for United.
Yes. Again, one of the interesting results in the midweek was Tottenham Hotspurs versus Fulham, a 1-1 draw.
Not wrong. Tottenham has they established themselves as title contenders in the first 3 months of the
Hmm.
season, but they've kind of trailed off, and I think that's more to do with the over reliance on Kane and Son. I mean, if they are
Absolutely.
not firing on all cylinders in every game, more or less Spurs, do lack a third outlet for creativity. So there's too much pressure on both of them. The rest of the team is a very stable team, no doubt. It's a Mourinho team after all, and
Hmm.
he sets up his team quite well tactically. But that's not going to it needs a couple more attacking outlets than Kane and Son. So such results, I think, will be predicted more for Tottenham in the due course in the coming 2 months. But good result
Correct.
for Fulham then.
Oh, yes, very good result for Fulham. Again, one more interesting match was Brighton versus Man City. Man City just edging past Brighton with a 1-0 victory. Phil Foden, I guess, scored the goal
Right,
for
right,
Man City. And again, Brighton is one of those teams which will defend till you die. So Brighton is again a tricky team to play, but
yes.
then a huge
United
victory
fans
for
know that.
Man.
United fans know really
Yes,
well about Brighton.
absolutely, because there are chances you win a game after the final whistle as well against Brighton,
Exactly.
which happened with us. So yes, Man City, considering the form they are in and the good run they are in, they are now, I think, banging on the top spot. I think they have a game in hand, and if they win that, they'll be the league leaders right now. I think there'll be a 1 point difference between United and City, and
Right,
Liverpool have slipped to fourth position. Leicester are doing well in the third position. So yes, Man City, every game is really important for them right
right,
now because all teams are just very close by for the top spot right now.
right. I agree with you completely on this side that I think City are now the favorites. I think
Hmm.
even all the bookmakers have put them as favorites, and with
Hmm. Yes, yes,
good justification also because probably they have the deepest squad. And
absolutely.
I think in this season a deep squad is going to matter more than not. And slowly, without any media hype, they've in the last month they've really picked up all the results and picked up 3 points everywhere, home and away. And if there is one team that can, just pull away from the pack, it's probably going to be City.
Yes.
So not surprised with that at all. I think Ruben Dias has been a good signing, and he settled
Oh
into that
yes.
defense really well.
Hmm.
Uh, Midfield is also ticking now. I think Bernardo Silva has also come in and started playing a few games and trying to show his form. So I think it's shaping up well for City in that sense. And unless there is some monumental, unfortunate injuries, which no one
Hmm.
should hope for, I think
Yes.
they'll be there and thereabouts at the end of the season. So looking good for
Yes.
City. Brighton still tottering on the relegation zone, as I can see, but I think they have
Yes.
enough to, I think, survive this season because they are a decent
Think
footballing side.
yes. Yes, I think somehow they will survive because I don't see Sheffield United bouncing back
Absolutely not.
anymore. I think they are
Absolutely not.
down and out. Fulham is one team which is going to fight for relegation along with
Right.
Burnley, and there'll be a lot of other clubs, Burnley as well. And
Burnley, I
you
think
never know.
Newcastle is also there,
Yeah, yes,
and Brighton is just above Newcastle. So I think those
teams like
two,
Crystal Palace have been struggling lately,
right. So
so it'll
I
be
think
interesting.
those 3, 4 teams will be in and around that.
Yes. So quickly moving on to the next game, my partner's team, Arsenal, goalless draw against Crystal Palace. Arsenal, who were having a terrible time in the past 2 months, found some form, back-to-back wins, and again a draw at home against Crystal Palace. I think it was fair result. If I watched, I didn't get to see the game, but I watched the highlights. Both the teams were attacking,
Hmm.
lot of shots on target, and I think it was a fair result in the end.
Right. So it was kind of a fair result. And Crystal Palace on their day can be really stubborn.
Mm.
I mean,
Yes.
uh, especially away from home, can be a really stubborn team. And I think in the context of Arsenal season, a nil-nil draw should be taken a bit more positively compared to some of the results they've had previously, especially at home. So Arsenal is a very very interesting case this season. I mean, sometimes you'll just feel that Arteta is not really doing that well, but they'll come up with a couple of results and you'll feel like, okay, they're going to move forward from this. So lot of inconsistencies in that Arsenal team. Just heard the news in the morning that Mesut Ozil has uh,
Yes.
left. So not that he was playing too much, but it's closure on a lot of things. But
Yes.
interesting to see how this team finally evolves under Arteta if it does. Uh,
Yes.
there are some really good players in that Arsenal side. Obviously, you have Aubameyang, but Saka is a very good player. Some really good youngsters in that team. So it is a team full of potential and talent, but I think this season is more just about surviving, and if they can get into the Europa League places, I think that should be a job well done for Arsenal.
Yes. Can't agree. Can't agree more to this. But one team which I really want to focus with you is Chelsea. What's happening with them? Uh, yes, a victory against Fulham, a
Right,
hard-fought victory against Fulham, and
right,
the past games have been pretty bad for them. Timo Werner, as mentioned, has been out of form for a long time now, missing
absolutely.
his scoring boards, and none of the new signings have been really uh, coming out of the mark for them. I think
Right.
the same old players have been playing well. So, what's your take on Chelsea?
Uh, I actually, I think what surprised me was the start to the season. Actually, I think they started really well, and I expected
Yes,
them to not start well because they had made so many signings. So the kind of form they're having right now, I expected them to have a start, and then maybe build into the season with all the new signings bedded in. So while the middle of the season, this kind of form was not expected from Chelsea. I think they're more or less as to where they should be in terms of so many new signings. It's
yes,
you have Havertz and Werner coming from the Bundesliga. You have Thiago Silva, who I think has done a decent job, but
yes,
still coming from a different league. I think only Chilwell was the one who comes from the same league and has
yes,
started for most of the games at left back, and not because they had too many options at left back. But
correct.
just like I think with Lampard, I think it is a similar issue with what Arteta faces is to, you have to figure out your identity. And I have not understood how Lampard sets up, or what is the identity of the Chelsea side. So just like with Ole, it's clear that he follows a counter-attacking policy, or
Hmm.
there is a set philosophy, and he's building his team towards that. With City, you have a clear identity. With Liverpool, have a clear identity. Even with Tottenham, with Mourinho, you have a clear
Yeah,
identity as to how they're going to play. So I don't
correct.
see that much with Lampard and Arteta. Of course, we should give them time, and time needs to be given to them. But
Hmm.
I think Lampard's team is in a phase where he really needs to establish his own system and then put the players according to that system. I think it's fallen
Correct.
into the trap of just accommodating all your signings or all your big guns,
Yes,
but then having to
correct.
rely back on your previous players like Tammy Abraham, like Mason Mount, to
Zero
get you out of the
players.
jam.
Yes.
So I think that's what Chelsea has encountered this season, and there's a bit of defensive issues. I think they leak a lot of goals,
Hmm.
in a bunch. Sometimes they'll have a 4-0 result, but then the next game they'll have a 3-3. So, uh, but the one issue they've definitely sorted is the goalkeeper. I
Yes.
think they've gotten a really good one who has
Yes.
really helped with their defense. I think that's their signing of the season compared to all
No,
Werner and Havertz and everyone.
undoubtedly. Yes.
So I think the only way can be up for Chelsea in the next 6 months, and I think their aim again should be to break into the top three or the top four, and be there
Correct.
for some more time. So I think
Correct.
that's where Chelsea are at. What do you feel?
Yes, I think Lampard. I completely agreed with you with the identity point. I don't understand his tactics a lot. I think when you have a informed player in Giro who's been scoring all your goals, you cannot
Right,
just suddenly bench him for Timo Werner because of the star name he got. But he's not delivering
right,
goals for you. So I think there is some issue with his tactics which he needs to set right. I think Ziyech
right.
is one of the best players for the
Yep,
right wing we have got. Yes, there's Salah, there's Mahrez, but Ziyech has a lot of potential, but a highly injury prone player again.
right,
So we need to sort how he's going to help Chelsea. I don't see him starting a lot of games, but I think his focus should be more on starting Premier League and Champions League. I don't see him starting domestic games because of his injury crisis.
right.
And yes, knowing the history of Chelsea, seeing how they sack their managers, let
Yeah,
it
yeah,
be
yeah.
one of the best in the club in the game.
Right,
I don't see Frank has got a lot of time in his bank. I think it's high time he delivers some with results, or else he's going to see the exit gate very, very soon. We all know what
right,
Roman Abramovich does.
right. So I mean, it's easy to forget, but Lampard's had around 1.5 years with this team, if I'm not wrong.
Yes,
Same as
correct.
Ole, right? Same as Ole, a
Yes,
bit
almost
almost.
a bit.
So I mean,
Yes,
so I think in 1.5 years you should rather sort your philosophy and tactics out, and get your
hmm
players to play in that kind of a system, which is yet to be
correct,
seen from a Lampard side at Chelsea. So I
correct,
think that's the major issue that's plaguing them.
correct. But one team which has never failed to impress us is Leicester City. A great victory against an informed team, Southampton, who
Right,
defeated you guys, Liverpool.
right.
Controversial game, I would say, after all that thing happened. Klopp coming out in the press and speaking a lot of things. But again, a great victory for them. And two good goals, James Maddison and Harvey Barnes.
Absolutely, and I didn't expect that them to get that result because I know Southampton's being an informed team, and
Yes,
they've done really well this season with the limited
yes,
squad that they have. Actually, I mean, if you look at
correct.
that squad, there's not many players that will give you that kind of hope. But Ralph Hasenhüttl has got them playing in a really good way.
Mhm.
Leicester has kept on impressing me in the last couple of seasons. They have lost Mahrez, they've lost Chilwell, they've lost many of their star players, Conte, Drinkwater, but they keep on getting really good players for the system, and
Yes,
it's just a good vibe that they're in right now. And if there is one club that could break the traditional top six, which is known, Leicester is
Mhm.
probably the best bet, at the moment from their last season's performance and this season how they're doing. So they are still the dark horses. They can probably knock anyone. It could be Liverpool also that they,
yes,
jump over and get top four. So
correct,
they are a force to reckon with definitely this season. I think Brendan
correct.
Rodgers has done a really good job. I think that's
Yes,
his level as of now. I think just
hmm
managing a team that is on the cusp and getting them
exactly.
and getting as much as possible. I'm not sure if he can do it with a club like a City or a United or a Tottenham. But Leicester, I
hmm
think, is the perfect place for his kind of a role.
Yes, agreed. Again, interesting result for Spurs after a one-all draw against Fulham, 3-1 victory against Sheffield. Expected result. Kane
Expected result.
scoring. Expected result. Sheffield are down and out. No, no doubts
The
about
only
it now.
surprising thing is that Sheffield scored, which I didn't expect.
Yes,
But
yes,
that was an expected result. And honestly,
absolutely.
Sheffield United is on course for having one of the lowest points total
hmm
in
hmm
Premier League season. So
Yes,
not a surprising result at all. Though there are
Not a
rumors I
surprising.
heard about Dele Alli leaving the club or looking to leave the club
Yes.
to
Yes.
probably PSG.
Mhm.
So he's not been involved with the Mourinho side, I think, for the last few months.
Yes.
So I don't know how that will impact, but that might just impact their squad depth if they have to rotate Kane or Son. So that's something
Mhm.
that can be kept a track of.
Yes. Quickly moving on to the final game. I was just checking the score and what was the score the league contenders will see time.
Hello.
Phone good है seems like this. Harsh, are you there? Sorry for the technical issue, guys. There's some internet issues, I guess, with Harsh and me as well. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we're back.
Yes. I think we just finished with Tottenham, and you were saying something.
Yes, yes. I think Man City's victory against Crystal Palace. You see, they jumping to the second spot with a game in a hand, 4-0
Mhm.
victory. Was just checking the
Right.
goals, Gundogan's goal, Sterling's goal, but
Right.
the pass from Kevin De Bruyne to John Stones
Right.
for the first goal,
Right.
an outfoot cross. Goodness me. I see a lot of them, being a United fan, this is sad to say, but a lot of them comparing Bruno Fernandes to Kevin De Bruyne. I don't think there's any comparison.
Yeah.
KBD is a class apart.
Yeah.
Is a
I
class
don't
apart.
think I don't think there's any conversation to be had, but because frankly, they're different kinds of players. Number one, and De Bruyne has been doing it for the last X number of years in the Premier League and churning out consistent performances. And uh,
Yes,
they're I probably he's the best midfielder and has been the best midfielder for a long time in the Premier League. So it's not surprising for De Bruyne to do that.
yes,
Probably some people had forgotten as to how good he was, but I
mm,
think now people are starting to remember what he adds to that City side. When he's not playing, uh, you know, the City side just does not look the same.
hmm,
Similar to how Vincent Company when he was never played. How that defense looked so shaky when David Silva was
yes,
not there. That midfield lacked
yes,
creativity. Same thing is with Kevin De Bruyne. So no doubt he's probably the best player, creativity and talent wise. Definitely the best midfielder you can say in this league.
absolutely.
So Bruno has a good amount of way to go to matching that.
Oh, no doubt about that. I'm sure Bruno is a great player, great energy, captain material, but he needs to work on a lot of things before getting to that level of football.
Yeah, I think he needs to perform a bit better in the big games, so-called big games.
Absolutely,
And I think
yes, yes,
I
agreed.
think maybe in the big games, certain managers mark him out and put a player on
Hmm.
him and he doesn't get that space, just like we saw with Thiago
Yes.
for many of for the first half at least. So I
Yes.
think he needs to find that out. But he has all the talent to perform in every game, whether it is a big game or a small game. So I
Yes.
think that's
Agreed.
something he needs to work out. I think Kevin De Bruyne proves it on every stage,
Hmm.
uh, whether it is the Premier League or the Champions League, and he's always proved that, and even at the international level. So no questions there.
Absolutely agreed. I think more or less we have covered the top six clubs from both the game weeks, and with midweek coming up again from I think tonight Arsenal is playing
Yes,
Newcastle, and then
yes,
tomorrow the midweek matches are again starting. So me and Shubham, I think Harsh will also join us. We'll have another video with the
definitely.
midweek fixtures. In the weekend, I think we
What
have FA Cup again, Liverpool and United facing each other.
What's your prediction for today's Arsenal game, or what Shubham's prediction?
Shubham would like to have a 3-0 win for Arsenal, but I'm predicting a 2-1 victory to Newcastle.
Uh, I would go for an Arsenal victory because I hated the fact that Newcastle drew with us. So I would like Arsenal to beat them. I go for the old Arsenal 1-0 victory.
That's a good one. That's a great one. Shubham is a very biased fan, and he can never see Arsenal losing like us.
Well, his life must
So
have been not great in the last 10 years.
yeah, I know. I've seen him celebrating without a T-shirt for them winning a FA Cup match against Southampton or some bottom club team. So I've
Well,
seen it. I've seen it all. So yes. So let's see how Arsenal bounce back in this game. So thank you so much, Harsh, for joining us. It was great to
hey,
have you as usual.
thank
You
you, thank
being
you, thank you. Thanks to you and
so
Shubham for getting in touch with me. I think it's always a
yes,
pleasure, and I have great fun when I talk to you guys.
absolutely.
So really enjoying where Cricfootz is going, and hope to be part of more collaborations to come. So thank you for getting
Absolutely.
me on.
It's a pleasure to have you around. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning up. Hope you guys are loving all the content from Instagram, which we are posting regularly these days, the quizzes, the news trivias, the facts from both the sport. Thank you for all the love and support. Do like, share, and subscribe to the channel and enjoy all the sporting action. Cheers.